Good day, everyone. Oops, I gotta get my timer going. If I don't have my timer going, then I like freak out and get off before 10 minutes. Usually about 5. Because I start getting anxiety, so. Alright, now I got my timer going. I am Rhonda with Rhonda Gage's Colorful Crochet. When takes a few minutes for the feed to start going, so I'll give it just a minute here. Hope everyone is good. It's nice and warm but windy. I'm working on sewing some granny squares together. Alright, it's been a couple minutes. It hasn't been the 7 yet, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. So, I am Rhonda Gage with Rhonda Gage's Colorful Crochet. I've crocheted for a long time, but I picked it up more the last couple of years. What comes to your mind when you hear crochet? What kind of products or items comes to your mind when you hear crochet? It could even be like colors that you like what's your favorite color? Trying to write that down so I can take myself in it. So I'm just working on tying some granny squares together. Not really tying, I'm sewing them together. It's kind of knotting up because I have such a long string of thread here that I'm tying it up with. So I just have to do it little by little so that it doesn't tie up. Right now I am tying up, whatever. I can't really say hooking because I don't have a hook in my hand. Putting these together for a scrap blanket. I have little squares all different colors, and then I have bigger squares that will all go together. I did not bring any of the bigger squares back here with me because I'm back in my office. So, turquoise is your favorite color, Melissa? I should have guessed with your truck. How's the weather over there in Ohio today? I have in-laws over in Ohio. Can't seem to grab my needle. Well, here I have like 88-degree weather. And I have a 2% chance of rain, but I also have fair wind is what my thingy says. What part of Ohio are you in, Melissa? I have relatives over in Dillonvale. I am Cheyenne, Wyoming. But I have relatives over in Dillonvale, Ohio. Um, Here in Wyoming, they, if the wind's blowing too hard or the snow is coming too hard, they will shut down the freeways. So I have I-80 and I-25 right here next to me. I am, depending on which way you go, I am like 15-20 minutes from Colorado South Greeley border, or towards South Greeley, I should say, or going down towards not sure what it's called today, Fort Collins. I'm 45 minutes, but 2 hours away from Denver. So a cornfield and a bean field. I wonder if they ever get them mixed up. Or is it like a coffee bean field? So now I have a pink and a white gold that I'm hooking together. You've been to Cody? Did you like the Wyoming weather? Haven't heard of Bowling Green, Ohio. I've only been out there once, and it was surprising my father-in-law, or my boyfriend's dad. We've been together long enough, it's father-in-law, I figure. But, they live out in Dillonvale. And I, Studevale, something like that, is close to it. I couldn't get there by myself. But gonna rotate this because I have it pulling on my hand. Ray does refrigeration units or hauls a lot. And right now he's going from Colorado, and they wouldn't let him come through home. They had him take I-70 to California. He hates going to California. I'm trying to tuck in the end so it's not seen when I hook these together. I'll have these two little ones hooked together, and then a big one, and then two little ones. So which one does your husband prefer to haul, hazmat or reefer? I have a brother-in-law that does FedEx, so his is basically all dry. I wouldn't say he's got anything moist in there. But he does double trailers. So what comes to mind when you hear crochet? Like what different items? do you think of when you hear crochet? I had to put my glove on today. Yesterday was like a bad day for me, but I still went. Closed in a month. I'm a little confused on that. Oh, Ray's been with his company. He's not an owner operator or a lease driver. He just works with the company itself. But he's been with Decker Truck Lines out of Iowa, and then they have different yards all around. And his DM is actually up in Missoula, Montana. But he's been truck driving for, I want to say, 5 years now. I like the baby blankets too. But then when I get bored of something, I rotate and do different things. I have a red, white, and blue blanket, granny square blanket going on back here behind me that I'm hooking together. And I'll show that here in a bit. I haven't heard of any of those ones because I really don't like hear of them unless Ray's driving for them or he talks about them. He drove with Pride for a year, and he got framed basically in a small spot in Ohio. There was construction going on, and the people were they lived there or whatever, and claimed that he hit their Jeep bumper and knocked it off, and Pride let him go because of that, even though there was no marks on the trailer or the truck, and their bumper was falling off anyway, and he wasn't even near their vehicle. So Pride let him go on that. And then they're all like, well, you could come back after a year. And then he talked to his DM that he had there, and they're all like, well, okay, you gotta apply. So he applied, and then they never got back with him. So I was all like, well, then it's not any big loss because you're home. And of course he calls me right now. The only thing I don't like about the cattle trucks is when you get showered and you get like a real shit show when you're traveling, and then you got shit all over your windows and everything. But my uncles and stuff had horses. So I was okay with the cattle and everything. I just don't like getting the shit show when I am driving. Yeah, Ray's got cameras forward and backward now too, but I don't think it picks up after the trailer. You like to travel in convertibles? And Ray's trying to get his brother from Nebraska, the car that his brother has in Nebraska. He's trying to get that, but I've never hauled a trailer, so I don't know how I can like haul that home for him. Did you put your Etsy link on the um, uplift post today for Social Divas? I haven't yet. It's easier for when I come back to my office to do that. Sorry, taking a little notes as we go. I didn't want to read today. I'm tired of reading. And this is day 5 of going live. So, I'm just kind of chilling and hooking, sewing these together so that I can get the rest of the blanket together. Your coach said it's not a good idea to post your Etsy store. It just gets people from Social Divas to come and check it out. Now, are you in the Nook or the Mastermind? Oh. One of the other gals was just telling me on another post that she was going to shake up her Etsy, and she's a top seller. So I'm trying to figure out how she does that. She said move things around, but I'm not very techy, and I haven't figured that out yet. So do you like the Nook? The Mastermind costs more, and I'm only in the Nook. But there is some people in the Nook and the Mastermind. Trying to think of what I want to do for dinner. My oldest son lives with me just because of my health problems. Well, we started helping him out, and then I got my health problems, and now the doctors say it's better if I'm not alone. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do for dinner. Did that business coach just quit, or you got tired of it, or... I was in one group and I wasn't getting very much help before I came to Serena's group, and I was like real frustrated. And if I went on a 7-day live or 5-day live challenge, I got treated pretty shitty. I had people tell me my prices should be higher and I shouldn't be so cheap, and they were just like literally yelling at me. But I only joined in January, so I kind of still feel like I'm new to the Nook too. But so when she was saying something about some kind of Zoom call for the newbies. I had asked about it, but I don't think there was ever a response on it because I never had a Zoom call with newbies when I joined. So I remember you saying you got the death threats and they took and made profiles of you and your husband. And whatever caused that to happen? Did they not like what you were selling or not like what you were doing? Or was it um threat not threatening because you were the one threatened. I can't think of the word right. Yeah, did they just not like you guys or what? People are like so weird nowadays. I was outside earlier watering my plants because I have my little jungle garden out there. And I hear all this swearing and everything as I go out on my side porch in my driveway so I could water them. I couldn't see anybody, but I can hear all different kinds of yelling and everything. And I was taking a pitcher of water in and out, so that was kind of getting to me too. I have an enlarged valve, and then I had my 2 mini strokes and a blood clot and high blood pressure. So I try to be a little more careful now, but I was like losing my balance as I was going out there with the water. And so when I heard the screaming and yelling and everything, I just like came back in and went back on my deck and was watering those ones that way. And then I was like, okay, I got all these ones watered. I'll go out front and water them. Because I used to have them like all over my deck and had no room on my deck. Well, I went out front and watered 15 of them that I have out there. I had to think, I don't even know if it's like 15, but I'm guesstimating. And they had the cups over at their house at the neighbor's house. Ew, that's not good. I've never heard of that. I mean, my sister had a stroke when she was 23, but when my second mini stroke hit, it hit and seized up my hand. I don't have full feeling in my hand, and it was picking up my crochet again that helped straighten out my hand. And then I sleep in a cool I have a cooling mattress pad on my bed, and that helped too. But it's been almost 2 years, and my feet still swell up, and I'm not really supposed to be alone, but my boyfriend needs to work and my son needs to work. Otherwise, we'd be like out on the street. But we were helping my son out, and then I had my health problems, so now he helps me out because he's here. And then Ray comes home like every other month, sometimes every 3 months. So I struggle with that too. So this is set number 4 I am working on putting together. I'm trying to grab a solid one and a variegated one so that I don't have like solid ones together, because I have both the variegated ones and the solid ones in the big ones as well. And then these two is from like 2 different kinds of skeins of yarn that was variegated, maybe the same skein, I don't know. So I'm kind of trying to figure out like where I want to put those. Maybe hook those 2 together, as use that like as the middle one. I got scatterbrained, sorry. So my sister had a stroke when she was 23, and we don't look anything alike, and she's not supposed to work over 8 hours a day, and she has blood clots constantly, and nobody else will do what they're exactly supposed to at her place of work, which is called Come and Go. It's like 7-Eleven, kind of like a Maverick or a Holiday. Thrifty Tom, Turkey Tom or whatever. Trying to think of what you guys would have over that way, but it's not where it was. It's not with Kroger. And there's times where she'll work 11 to 13 hours a day, and I'm just like, you're crazy, you need to quit that. But she's been going to the doctor like every week because she's gotten sores on the back of her legs. And my mom said this morning, maybe last night, because I talk to my mom a couple times a day, that she finally got the spot on the back of her leg healed up. So that's a good thing. But she's been going to see the doctors like once a week on this spot on her leg for maybe 6 months. And now it's finally healed up. So, but I don't always see her. She's 4 hours away. She'll go over and see my mom, but my mom's 3.5, 4 hours from me too. So, and then I have kids and grandkids in Salt Lake. So, I actually had the little gal I babysat. She was 5 when I started babysitting her, and last year I ran into her and her grandma, because she lived with her grandma, and it was good to see them. Well, Tiffany, the gal I babysat, is now pregnant. She's all like, I'm huge. And I'm all like, yeah, that happens, but you should go to Salt Lake when I'm down there, because they're planning a baby shower for her the first part of October, and I'll be there mid-October for a wedding. And I was like, how do I do both? I can't do both. Unless my son wants to come get me. My middle son or my youngest son, but I can't do both. And then I guess it all depends on if their kids' mom has the kids or not. With my middle one, he can't really go too far, because she just had another baby, and she's brought them back like several times early, or the girls would call him and he'd have to go get them. But I let them figure it out. Where's the crafter convention at, and what do they do? I set a timer just so I'm on there longer than 5 minutes. And so far I've been on like 30, but I'm enjoying today. I'm not stressing. I have you on watching me. When I get this closer to being done, I'll have to give you like sneak peeks before anybody else gets to see it. They've had, like, I'll do a blanket or something, and if I don't have enough skein to finish the row I was on, then I'll rip out that row, and that's where this blanket is coming from, is from like all the different projects and stuff that I've took off of the thing because I was running out of the yarn and not having enough for that row. So that's where all this yarn is coming from on this blanket. Just last week I had like 4 little balls of yarn in my little basket over there, and I must have put them in here. This is yarn that I did from, I had leftover from a green and cotton colored, green and cotton candy colored pocket shawl, hooded pocket shawl. So, but I am day 5 on my challenge, on our challenge. I was only going nookie because I really didn't feel comfortable. But I know if I leave that time in between, that if I just went like once a week or a couple times a week, I wouldn't continue with it. So I'm pushing myself to go every day, so then it becomes a habit and I'm not like all freaked out over it. And when I'm just reading or whatever, I don't put it in the group thing, so I just like yesterday I didn't put it in the group. I don't think I even posted in there on the Rookie, Nookie, and Ballers. But and I think I started following you on TikTok today too. Not for sure. I think you were the only one I recognized on there. So, and then I was trying to log in, and I spent a good 5 minutes or so trying to put in my password, and then it wasn't taking it. And it finally took my phone number, and it's like, what? Yeah, so the last one I did was the black variegated and the pink. Kind of looks orange to you, but it's actually a pink color. Or when I hold it up onto the computer, the tablet, it looks orange. It's actually, and now I'm doing a black and purple, black and white and purple that I'm hooking together. But I just figured this would be something different to do. I did a video earlier, but I have not put it up, about one of the projects I was working on, and I had actually done one of the granny squares, I think, for this one. But but I am trying to do like a little booklet type thing for a digital download for the basics of crochet. I started on that yesterday, but I just right now I just come back here and do the lives and do my pins and head out of my office because I'm also trying to get my laptop all programmed for business so that if my son orders something, I can be out there waiting for deliveries to come. I have a sneeze coming. So I'm trying to hold it in and not sneeze all over. So I'm kind of tightening it through, but then it's harder to see on that side. And I'm just grabbing one loop of each of the stitches to tie this on with. And then when I get the blanket all together and everything, I'm going to do like a white border on it. Mine is my laptop is a Toshiba, so Android. But I think I'm gonna have to like factory reset it. I've had it like 8-10 years, and it wants you to put a password in, so you put it in, then it is the wrong password, and then wants you to put in another one. And I think if I just reset it, it's not going to do that anymore. But every time you go to log in, it's the wrong password. And I get so frustrated with that. I've only had like Android items, not Apple. I get frustrated when I play on my boyfriend's Apple tablet because it's like totally different than Android. And right now you're watching me off of a 10-inch tablet, and I just got a webcam and a microphone for my computer, my desktop. In fact, here's the microphone. Kind of slid it off to the side. It's kind of a hassle with my desktop and stuff because my brain for it is down on the floor and my computer screen is over this way. So then I'm like struggling with all the wires, and I don't have like the ports in the back of it. They're all in the front of the brain, so it's kind of like a struggle, and I have to fight with it. I think I'm gonna have to figure out something else for the setup back here. So that I don't have like the whole length apart in between them, and then as I'm sitting out here at the desk, I don't have like constant wires hitting my legs and me tripping over them when I move my legs or feet. Do you have any kids, Melissa? Oh, you disappeared. Well, I'm getting ready to get off of here. It's been like 40 minutes that I've been on, which is better than my 5 minute ones or under 5 minute ones. But hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching me. Stay positive. Be grateful. Remember gratitude. And enjoy your day. Have a great one. Love you. Bye.